हरे कृष्णा रेखा माता जी, धन्यवाद प्रणाम, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय। Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, Ramagiri Prabhu is here too. So Hare Krishna, Ramagiri Prabhu, धन्यवाद प्रणाम, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, गुरु महाराज की जय. Welcome to the call, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna ma.
Yeah. So Hare Krishna, we are so fortunate to have His Grace Ramagiri Prabhu from Mumbai, India, and Prabhuji will enlighten us on Srimad Bhagvatam, 7th canto, 6th chapter, 10th verse and onwards. So, Prabhuji, whenever you are ready, please take over the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam in the Assembly of Vaishnavas. So please accept my humble obeisances. All goes for Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 6, text number 10. A chapter title, Prahlad instructs his demoniac schoolmates. Ko navartat trishnam visrajed प्राणेभ्योऽपि य ईप्सितः यं प्रीणाति असुभिः प्रेतैस्तस्करः सेवको वणिक्. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Money is so dear that one conceives of money as being sweeter than honey. Therefore, who can give up the desire to accumulate money, especially in household lives? Thieves, professional servants, and merchants try to acquire money even by risking their very dear lives. Purport. How money can be dearer than life is indicated in this verse. Thieves may enter the house of a rich man to steal money at the risk of their lives. Because of trespassing, they may be killed by guns or attacked by watchdogs, but still they try to commit burglary. Why do they risk their lives? Only to get some money. Similarly, a professional soldier is recruited into the army and he accepts such service with the risk of dying on the battlefield only for the sake of money. In the same way, merchants go from one country to another on boats at the risk of their lives, or they dive into the water of the sea to collect pearls and valuable gems. Thus, it is practically proved, and everyone will admit, that money is sweeter than honey. One may risk everything to acquire money, and this is especially true of rich men who are too attached to household life. Formally, of course, the members of the higher castes, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, even everyone but the Shudras, were trained in the Gurukula to adhere to a life of renunciation and sense control by practicing Brahmacharya and mystic yoga. Then they were allowed to enter household life. There have consequently been many instances in which great kings and emperors have given up household life, although they were extremely opulent and were the masters of kingdoms. They could give up all their possessions because they were trained early as brahmacharis. Prahlad Maharaja's advice is therefore very appropriate. Kaumar acharet prajno dharman bhagavatan iha durlabam manusham janma tadapi adruvam arthadam. One who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life, in other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service. giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. Human society should take advantage of this instruction. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे को निवृत्ततृष्णां विसृजेत् प्राणेभ्योऽपि ईप्सितः यं कृणात् च सुभिः प्रेतैः तस्करसेवको भणिक्. Money is so dear that one conceives of money as being sweeter than honey. Therefore, who can give up the desire to accumulate money, especially in household life? Thieves, professional servants, and merchants try to acquire money even by risking their very dear lives. So, we are continuing our discussion where Prahlad Maharaj is trying to speak to his classmates and trying to give a perspective about the life of a householder and life of a people who are not devotionally inclined. He has just mentioned few verses before that how our lifespan is very, very limited, and how we have a very what we call as very limited existence in this world. In verse number 6, he has mentioned that Pumso Varsha Shatam hi ayus Tadardam Chaditatmanaha Nishvalam Yadashraut Ratriyam Shete Endam Prapitashtamaha. Every human being has a maximum duration of life of 100 years. But for one who cannot control his senses, half of those years are completely lost because at night he sleeps 12 hours, being covered by ignorance. Therefore, such a person has a lifetime of only 50 years. So, the whole arrangement here is that Prahlad Maharaj is trying to enlighten his friends to rise above the obviousness. Because what is obvious amongst sadhus is not obvious for materialists. And what is obvious for materialistic person is not obvious for a sadhu. So, every time when a materialistic person sees a sadhu, he thinks this guy is really, wasting his time. We have always heard in our own families where people have mentioned that your young age, why are you wasting your youth, your most important time of the life, that you should be making sure that this is to be availed very soon. Whatever enjoyment, better now, because better late. If you become late, you will never be able to reap the results. So we keep hearing people from the materialistic viewpoint how they accuse a person in the spiritualistic viewpoint, and we always see people on the spiritualistic side how they warn about materialistic mentality. So the idea is that the obvious nature, what is obvious for one person is not obvious for the other person. But at the same time, it is very specifically mentioned that those who are well-wishers, their viewpoints may always be seen as irrelevant because of our conditioning. But those who are intelligent enough will take their viewpoint and try to teach oneself to come out of his comfort zone. The ideal example, classic example, is that of Arjuna. Arjuna's mindset was not favoring him to go towards fighting. And Arjuna's mindset was telling that fighting is an unnecessary agenda. But then he had one intelligent, perspective that I should just not limit myself with my understanding, limit to what I think I feel. Rather, he said I should take expert advice. So the edge here is one is spiritualist, one is materialist, but in between, there are 4 different types of people. So we are going to discuss about them as a first reflection. As I say, one is spiritualist, meaning those who are self-realized, those who are experienced in spiritual science. And on the other paradigm, those who are completely engrossed in materialism. So there are 2 extremes. And one will accuse the other person as non-obvious, and other person will want these about as non-obvious people. But in between, there are some people. And I will classify them into 4 parts. Number 1, they are who understands their mistakes, that they are materially engrossed. They want to get corrected, and they are also in the corrective course of action. Meaning, I know what I am wrong, where I am wrong, why I am wrong, and I know I have to take corrective action, and I have already started taking corrective action. This is one type, which is close to becoming reality. They are still an illusion, but because of their decision, very soon they will go towards truth. The second category is those who knows they are wrong, who wishes to get corrected, but who is struggling to implement. So I know what is wrong. I know I have to get corrected. I may also know that what is supposed to be done, but I am not doing, I am struggling. This is second category. Third category is one who knows they are wrong, but they blame somebody else as a reason for them being wrong. Saying that I am wrong not because of me, I am in the state not because of me, it is because of X, Y, Z, him, she, whatever that is. And the fourth is those who genuinely accepts that I have no clue what is going on. In the sense, they completely are into a state of ignorance, and they are clueless about how to go about, and they are swayed by the wind, whichever way. If they associate with the self-realized souls, they may get carried away. If they associate with the materialist people, they may get carried away. They don't have any opinion of themselves. And 2 other extremes are, one is self-realized, another is self-arrogant. So totally we have 6 different types of mentality. We can classify them further, more granularity, but we will limit this to 6 to discuss our current context. Whilst the context is discussing about money, it is not money is only limited to this conversation. It is about all the aspects of sense gratification that we will try to identify in this context as a first reflection. So out of this 6, 1 self-realized, great. 1 demoniac, anyway they are classified demoniac. So let us leave them aside for a moment and talk about these 4, because as practicing devotees, we may fall in any one of these 4 categories. And each of these categories, what they need to do to make sure they are in the safe zone of going towards spirituality. Otherwise, they will get carried away by materialistic wind. So the first one, who is genuinely knowing what their mistake is, genuinely know what the solution is, genuinely following, he is anyway in the right track. So he is also now into a whitelisted mode. Yes, he can be saved. He is in the right track. Nothing to be done. Time will definitely rescue him, and he is also taken care. Now the remaining 3. The second one, who knows he is wrong and who does not have the necessary courage to fix himself correct, need to take active shelter of self-realized souls. So in fact, the self-realized souls, they need to identify, recognize such souls, extend themselves, transform their conditioned state to a liberated state, and from that point in time they will they will be able to rescue them. So I am understanding to an extent, for me to understand and accept my mistake, that I am wrong, I need to be going towards righteousness, is in itself a courage. And accepting that on my own I am not able to change is also a courage. So when such a person is given some necessary help, if he just asks Prabhu, Krishna, Gurudev, Maharaj, Mataji, please help me because I'm knowing I'm suffering. This is the state in which Arjuna was. So when with a humble state of mind he approached, then Krishna definitely rescues that person. Krishna, when he rescues that person, then he will be definitely going towards the whitelisted zone. Third category of person is what the risk starts. Third category of person, he blames. I am wrong. Originally, he will not accept he is wrong. First, he will be saying, I am not wrong. If you ask him, further questions, he'll say, I am wrong, not because of me. If you further ask him questions, he will say, I am wrong because of so and so circumstances. Then only when you further grill, he will accept that, it is because of my mistake. So the third category of people is generally people like a conditioned soul who is not yet in the demoniac zone, but they are, kind of, I do not want to use general people like us because we are all devotees, you are all devotees. But in general, people are in that mindset. They keep blaming someone or the other for their difficulty rather than taking up responsibility. So this category of people definitely need knowledge. If they associate with the right set of people, with the right set of knowledge, they can be rescued. And if they not taking advantage of the knowledge, they will remain for the rest of their life thinking that problem is with somebody else and death will teach them lesson. At the time of death, at the time of difficulty, they will accept that I was wrong. So eventually they may have to be given some tough treatment. For the second category of people, you don't need tough treatment because they have accepted. You teach them, they will learn. But for the third category of people, Krishna or the nature have to give them some tough treatment. दो चार कोड़े पड़ने चाहिए. Sometimes they have to get whacked. They have to get some tough treatments so that eventually they'll say, yeah. I originally thought so. No. Now I'm changing my opinion. I changed my version. So this is third class where I will wait. I will accept there is a problem only when I get into problem. I will accept this problem only when I get into a situation where I'm not able to, enjoy what I'm supposed to enjoy. So they keep blaming everyone till they get a a special treatment by the nature, by the Lord. So those are the people who need proper knowledge, proper care, proper association, so that they can be rescued. And the fourth is honest fool category. So this honest fool category or foolish category, they will swing either way. When they are with demoniac people or asuric, they will serve them jai 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 jai. When they are with these people, they'll say jai jai. They do not have their own opinion. So they are the most unfortunate. Anyway, the other extreme of demoniac person is an unfortunate category. But this person who does not take introspective decisions that I am in this human form of life, so there is nothing that can save him till he bumps in or he gets across with some self-realized soul, some gets costless mercy. Otherwise, he just gets carried away. The reason I'm discussing about this 6 category of people is because all these 6 category of people are amongst us. We are surrounded by such types of people. And each of them have their own perspective about this world. And each of them needs a specific trajectory for them to get their lives fixed. Here, Prahlad Maharaj is addressing towards, if I can say, in the middle 4, Prahlad Maharaj is trying to address number 3 and number 4 category of people. And number 5 or the number last category is also somewhat, because these demoniac parents' children, they are not yet spoiled as that of the father, but they are still part of that surroundings. So from that standpoint, Prahlad Maharaj's instructions and advice towards these children becomes very relevant, and that's how a self-realized soul thinks. So this is my first reflection where I want to say that in our devotional life, in our materialistic life, in our normal life, for us to succeed, for us to make proper necessary progress, we should be intelligent enough to take advice, guidance, directions from somebody better than us, rather than just without any control take support of anyone and everyone coming our way. That is not very intelligent. So Prahlad Maharaj's act of training, as Prabhupada explains, that formally the members of higher castes, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas and Vaishyas, were trained in the Gurukula to adhere to a life of renunciation and sense control by Brahmacharya and mystic yoga. So the reason they were all trained is that when you are trained under some care, trained under some authority, whatever conditioning one may have born with, through this training, through this mystic yoga, through this purificatory procedures, through this knowledge that they have received, so then they will be able to normalize their situation. Otherwise, they will lead a life of an animal. So our Vedic system had all wonderful components to rescue, deliver all sorts of people through this arrangement of training and proper, devotional environment, which Prahlad Maharaj is trying to give here to all the friends. In our own lives, we need to also identify which category am I, and we need to take help for us to get rid of our conditional situation, and then we should make sure that from that point in time we are also extending our help to others. We should be part of the solution, and we should also provide solution to others. So I am not part of the problem by my choice of words, association, company and stuff like that, and I should be part of the solution in the sense by providing solution. I should be helping all the near and dear ones, so that I am helping their families and their extended families to get the right course of journey. So this is my first reflection, because Prahlad Maharaj, he is going out of the way. Nobody would have questioned why he is preaching, what if he has not preached. Nobody would have questioned. Nobody would have questioned Srila Prabhupada if he had not gone to USA. Nobody would have questioned, Bhaktivinoda Thakur if he had not traveled the entire Gauda Desha to, find out how many people are serious in devotional life and expose the apasampradayas. So all the acharyas, they go out of the way to make sure that the suffering souls like us, there are, people who are sincerely seeking for solution, but they are struggling to get into the solution by their, participation, by the self-realized soul's participation, their life gets regulated. So this is number one reflection. Number two reflection is, now let us talk about the Varnashrama ecosystem about which Srila Prabhupada is talking about. So, in the Varnashrama ecosystem, a Brahmana, a Kshatriya, a Vaishya, Shudra, and there are other, further divisions than Shudras. Refer 7th canto, where Narada Muni is teaching Yudhishthira Maharaj about it. So these were in the Varnashrama ecosystem, you will see a peculiar, unique quality of each of these, Varnas. Brahmana, an ideal, good, bona fide Brahmana, is the one who would spend money, who would compromise his power and position if he has to buy time for self-realization. This is Brahmanical. Brahmanas are them who wants to optimize their time by spending money, by compromising power and position, so long as they can get quality time to be with Krishna. For them, money is not the attraction. Power is not the attraction. What attracts them is sincere quality time that they can spend with the Supreme Lord and with self-realized subject matter. A Kshatriya is the one who will spend money, will compromise anything for power. He is interested in power. Just for power, he will spend money, he will spend time, he will compromise with anyone, even to an extent with an enemy, because he thinks when I am powerful, then all these things are, achievable. Vaishyas are attracted to wealth, finances. Not that other people are not giving importance to money. A Brahmana thinks, if I spend my time prudently, money will automatically come. Rest of the needs will automatically come. A Kshatriya thinks, if I am in power, money and all the necessary things will automatically come. Rest, everything else can be handled. A Vaishya is the one who thinks, if I have money, everything else is possible. Shudras are those who are always interested in sense gratification. They think that come what may, I want to enjoy. I would enjoy at the cost of money, at the cost of compromising power, at the cost of compromising your own quality time. I want to enjoy. In Mumbai, there used to be a very interesting personality in 1990s who was very famous for stock exchange, scam. So he earned lots of money. So the analysis is, person who earned hard-earned money, they would not have any problem in spending them overnight if they get sense gratification. So this guy, on one single night, he spent 9 crore rupees. 9 crore is $90 million or 90 million rupees. So he will spend that much money in one night, which he had hard earned. And these guys who had spent money for one night sense gratification would spend 10 times more if they will get power, if they become minister, if they become a politician. So my second reflection is that the reason I am talking about this is to help us map within ourselves. Where do I swing? What attracts me? What entices me? And how do I purify them and dovetail them in Krishna consciousness? A Shudra's sense gratificatory propensity, a Vaishya's money earning propensity, a Kshatriya's being in the power propensity, a Brahmana's being knowledgeable and utilize his time for self-realized topics propensity, they all can be honed in, dovetailed to eventually glorify Krishna. But if they are not going to be done, then we have Varna Shankara, unwanted population. And Vaishnavas, those Vishnu Bhaktas, they do not want unwanted population. Say they go out and try to help all these types of people to come back and add Krishna in their lives. That is why in Gurukula system, in the early age, they will recognize he is Brahminical, he is administrative in nature, he is financial in nature, and this guy is only having a laborious, working nature. And accordingly, their syllabus and their curriculum is designed. It is not that all of them put in one basket, as we are currently studying in our modern day education system. Not all of them put in one single basket and they are, trained or they are handled. So my reflection here is that Prahlad Maharaj is very careful in making sure that his friends with whom he is going to stay, they are given help. By this way, he is also creating a shield that his consciousness of being a devotee is not hampered. And number three, this is the way by which the whole community can be revolutionized, whole community can be changed. So in our own upbringing, in our own growing days, we were unclear that whether I'm a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, because the basis on which today people are being classified is not the basis on which Shastra classifies. Just because my father was a Brahmana, I need not be a Brahmana, or I have all facilities to be a Brahmana, but sometimes because of my conduct, I may not be a Brahmana. So I may not be a Kshatriya, I may not be a Vaishya, I may not be a Shudra. Even Shudras were bona fide members of Varnashrama Dharma because we need labor class to function. Now, this is how Varnashrama system worked. So everybody were focusing on money, but their trigger to earn money was different. One's trigger was through knowledge, another's trigger was through power, another's trigger was through trade and business, another's trigger was through somehow or other. They will do sense gratification and for which they will earn money and spend money, kind of. But what happened is, now, in the current Kali Yuga, now everything is, fifth class or less than fifth class. They are not even Shudras in some sense. Because Shudras are in the Varnashrama system because they accept authorities. Shudras, they are sense gratifying nature under some authority. They accept a Brahmana boss, a Kshatriya boss, or a Vaishya boss. Any one of the Varnas will guide a Shudra. Now the table is completely turned. A Shudra is taken the reins and trying to guide the society, and eventually, blind leads the blind, and we are all facing a severe crisis of people being righteous. So the idea here is that the modern day scenario is that for everything there is a dollar amount being attached as a tag. If I have this money coming in, if I have this facility coming in, if I have this arrangement coming in, then if I have this money associated with it, then I am, whether to do devotional service, whether to be in power, for everything we want money. And for money, people are ready to do anything and everything. So Prahlad Maharaj is warning this nature, because when somebody is attracted towards money, and for money they will do anything, the person is called prostitute, because prostitutes are the one who compromise their values and principles and try to do anything and everything only for money. But in Varnashrama ecosystem that we just spoke about, their agenda is money, but not only money. They had a Kshatriya will definitely want to be in power, because they have the ability to manage and control certain things. So my second reflection is that, number one, we need to learn to identify which varna we swing towards, and number two, how are we going to safeguard ourselves from this varna shankara population. Number one, we should not be one, and number two, we should see to that this varna shankara situation. Varna shankara means unwanted population, one who does not come under the purview and boundary of any type of rules and regulations. So Prahlad Maharaj is concerned, that's why he is teaching in these principles to his boys. The third reflection is about a very important principle as a practicing devotee that we better learn. This principle is called YLER. So this principle is, typically in this material world, every one of us, we have interest in earning money. So I yearn to earn. As Prabhupada explains, money is honey, and I yearn to earn. Somehow I want money. And my logic is, if I get them, I am successful. If I get them, I am very much, glorious. If I get them, somehow or other, all my problems are solved. If I get them, I can feel, completely protected. So we all, whether it is education, whether it is job, whether it is marriage, whether it is travel, everywhere we have this one agenda of money associated. When I say study a course, what is the question I ask? Will I be able to make more money? Whether I marry, will I get married to a rich family? Whether it is house that we buy, location of the house that we choose, everything is associated with money. As he said, it is not wrong to have money, but it is something wrong to have money only. So earn and earn, this is a current mindset, but we want to introduce two other words called L and R. Instead of yearning to earn, we would like to propose yearning to learn. Whilst learning, with the help of learning, you earn. And after earning, you return. So instead of YE, I propose YLER. Yearning to earn vis-a-vis yearning to learn, to earn, to return. That is where our devotional sentiments are. So in the devotional journey, in the devotional life, it is very important for us to note, it is very important for us to recognize that we are missing L and R in the equation. Even our practicing devotees and their family, they are struggling not to have L and R because they think the moment L, learn and return comes in, then there are other challenges or other burden that they assume that they will be forced into. But technically, a person who is able to learn and return back to the society, he is considered as a matured and a well-wisher of the society. So my third reflection is that Prahlad Maharaj, you will see after Hiranyakashipu's death also, Prahlad Maharaj is the one who demonstrated this principle of YLER. He yearned to learn. He earned his power, position, name, fame, prosperity, all the benefits. And then what he did? He returned back to the society and gave them very good life. It is explained that Prahlad Maharaj ruled this planet for several thousand years. And what he did? He helped everyone to practice and take up Krishna consciousness seriously and helped them to practice devotional life seriously. He ruled as a very good, role model king. And then he picked it up from there. Then he went back home, back to Godhead. So till that point until he did not return, you will see every Acharya has done that. Rupa Goswami has done that. Sanatana Goswami has done that. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were Nawab Hussain Shah's governors. Raghunath Das Goswami's father was a Muzumdar, very powerful, rich guy. Prabhupada used to say that all of you, my students, you are not from a normal family. One time Prabhupada was sitting in his house in Mayapur Dham in his room, looking at the window, tears were flowing from his eyes. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj or someone, I don't remember, had asked Prabhupada, Shri Prabhupada, why are you crying? So at that time, the Mayapur was not as developed as it is currently developed or is being developed. So they were all kitched, muddy and very inconvenient, lifestyle there. Devotees used to regularly fall sick, mosquitoes, malaria, all sorts of problems were there. And there were no proper sanitation facility. So all these American boys and girls, they had a very austere life there. So Srila Prabhupada said that you boys and girls in your own country, respective country, you had so much of facilities and you had people to help you, support you. But you are all here with me just because I asked you to help me and I'm very much highly indebted to you. So the idea is that Prabhupada is acknowledging that these boys and girls, they have sacrificed their life to return back something to the society. So that's the mood. When I say return back to something to the society, it is not for name and fame. It is for rescuing the suffering souls because they cannot see the suffering souls, suffering. As Prabhupada is quoting, Kaumara Macharet Prajno Dharman Bhagavataniha Durlabam Manusham Janma Tadapi Adruvam Artadam. Srila Prabhupada writes that one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning in life, in other words, from a tender age of childhood to practice activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. That's exactly the key. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection. So all the self-realized souls, they are not able to tolerate the suffering of the suffering souls. So they are extending themselves, they're extending their support for others to become Krishna conscious. You would have seen that Prabhupada, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, like that we can go on listing people. They performed their service even at the most fragile part of their life. In one verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, saying that my vision is becoming blurred. My body is becoming really like a wreck. I am losing myself. There are so much of problem that I am going through and so much of pain. But still, I am continuing the service of compiling Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita under the order of our bona fide spiritual masters and authorities. Om Vishnupad, Raghunath Das Goswami and six Goswamis, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is listing all the names. Says, in spite of all this conditioning, I am trying to do this. The same statement Prabhupada said. Prabhupada says that, my dear Lord, I have no personal qualification, I have no personal ability, and I have no personal strength. But whatever I'm doing for the sake of fulfilling your order and my Guru Maharaj's order. Sanatana Goswami had Kushtaroha, leprosy. He was wanting to give up his body, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejuvenated him. So we can go on and on and on. The message here is that somehow or other we need to introduce this component of L and R to our near and dear ones, to our own lives and to our future generation, so that we are not just somebody who is interested in yearning to earn, rather than we are yearning to learn, to earn, and eventually return back. So these are all my three sets of reflections from this current shloka. So before we go on to take up some questions and comments, I will summarize what we discussed. So the whole topic of money is honey and related things. So we discussed about the 6 different types of people as a first reflection. The most self-realized to the most demoniac, as two being too extreme, and the remaining 4, one who is sincere, serious, knowing his mistake, knowing the solutions, already trying to apply the solution. Even though he is today in the state of illusion, eventually he will make it towards reality. Second, being those who are clear about their problem, knowing what the solution is needed, but they are not, careful enough, courageous enough to implement the solution. So they go and seek the help, like that of Arjuna, like that of Draupadi, like that of, several students in Srimad Bhagavatam. So they try to seek the help and eventually they are provided the help. Third qualification is the blame game person. He keeps blaming others, even though he accepts his difficult situation. He blames somebody else as the Karan, as the reason. And we discussed that how such a person who is constantly being blamed or who is blaming others, sometimes they may need some hard treatment. When they go through some tough, and difficult experiences, they may come to a reality check that yes, mistake is with me. And the fourth category is a confused, foolish category. They will get swayed along with every side of directions. One should not be in such a category. At least one should be able to take a stand for one's own understanding. This was my first reflection. So the second reflection was about this Varnashrama Dharma ecosystem, how a Brahmana sees his priorities in life, how a Kshatriya sees his priorities in life, how a Vaishya sees priorities in life, how a Shudra sees priorities in life, and what are the trigger points. Even though they all have money as requirement, they are not driven just by money. They are using money for their own, social existence. Even to an extent that a Shudra has a master to report to, with that he is able to enjoy the results of the action that is mastered. So in the sense that in the Varnashrama ecosystem, a person may have money as a desire, but he also understands at the end Krishna is the center. But if somebody has forgotten Krishna in the center and just try to claim about their Varna status, they will only produce Varna Shankara, unwanted population. And the third reflection is about the scenario of yearn to earn is a general mindset, and learn and return is never an equation. So by we trying to implement the principle of yearning to learn to earn to return, we are not only helping ourselves, we are also helping others. So all these three reflections combinedly put together are addressed by Prahlad Maharaj when he is advising his own classmates, because he knew that his classmates' family background are demoniac, and he still knew that just by giving oral reception to the words of Srimad Bhagavatam, how much ever demoniac a person may be, he can get rescued from Shoka Moha Bhaya. So, and he also knew that if these boys and girls change, if these boys in the Gurukula change, then his existence in Gurukula is never a threat because he is surrounded by practicing devotees. So, a self-realized soul or a practicing devotee is so intelligent. He not only helps himself, he helps his near and dear ones. Thank you so much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Atai Gaurav Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Any questions, comments, or reflections? I'll be happy to respond. Thank you. Anybody has any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Geeta, and thank you for the class today. I just had a question regarding renunciation. Prabhuji, you said that like we are always told that we need to renounce and we should not have desires, otherwise we have to take rebirth and all that. But how do we break it down further? We know we need to renounce, but when it comes to the real thing, it's difficult at that point in time. We don't know sometimes whether it's a necessity, it's a need, or a want. I mean, you're saying that people used to go to Gurukul, so I'm just wondering if there is any scientific way of learning how to renounce, or
Yes, very nice question. So the answer is there, the same purport. Number one, the way renunciation is done is you learn about it when you are learning for the first 25 years. So I learn that anything that I'm going to earn, I'm acquiring, is not going to be with me permanently. So the first 25 years, I am taught about the need of getting something, the mood of having something, and education of knowing that what I'm going to have is not going to be with me forever. So the time when he is in the hostel, typically what we call as hostel, that used to be Gurukula, where he lives in Guru's ashrama, he lives a life of ascetic and extraordinary commitment and surrender. So he is taught, the person is taught in the Gurukula that when I am acquiring, when I am buying something, it is not permanently hard-coded in my life. Rather, it is something that I will eventually have to. So first phase of this is education. Second phase of it is you are allowed to enjoy, and when you are allowed to enjoy, knowing that this enjoyment is within the boundary of my allowed purview. So that is why Grahastha Ashrama, you are allowed to enjoy what you have acquired legitimately, knowing that this enjoyment is also limited. This enjoyment is also something that should be directed for ultimately glorifying the Lord. And this time, between 25 and 50, that's the Grahastha Ashrama period, you make sure that you contribute socially, you contribute to the welfare of the family, you contribute to the welfare of the self, and you contribute overall for dharma. So from that perspective, that renunciation is in the form of a charity, because until 25, there is no concept of charity because you have not earned anything. But 25 to 50, we do charity. How we do charity? Charity is a form of renunciation because I'm earning, so I will look after myself, my family, my community, and overall, principles of, righteousness. Then from 51 onwards, what we technically call as a Varnashrama ecosystem, what we call as, the stage of Vanaprastha, a person who is supposed to be retiring from active sense gratification and active earning. So at this stage, you start to withdraw because you started to acquire, you acquired, you need to start to withdraw yourselves and try to handhold some next generation succession to continue what you have done. So there is a book called Good to Great. I'm not sure how many of you have read it. The idea is the biggest obstacle for doing great things is good things. We always dwell on doing good things, which will blind us to do great things. So 50 is a time where every grahastha should start planning to consolidate and eventually start focusing on leading a detached life. Still, he will have a lingering attachment towards money and possessions and family, but he need to slowly withdraw. Nobody is asking to overnightly do it. Then typically it says 51 to 75, but I would say considering our average ages are ranging between 60 to 100. 100 is the best case scenario. 60 is a middle case scenario. There are people who are dying earlier than also. So for 10-15 years, we will lead a life of an vanaprastha with the reduced attachment, and then 100% detachment, that I will focus only to Krishna. This is how Varnashrama has designed, and this is how your renunciation is focused. Education, charity, which means you acquiring and giving away, withdrawing, and then renouncing. This is the main course of how Varnashrama operates. Now, if we talk about devotional journey, a person who is devotionally inclined, he is above Varnashrama, which means he is trying to do every act for the pleasure of the Lord, and he just accepts the remnants. For that person, no age is a restricting age. No age is the age where he has to, perform things for personal agenda, because he's anyway thinking about Krishna and devotional service at all point in time. So for him, there is no restriction. So for him, every act is Krishna's service, and there is no specific renunciation that he need to practice, because by design, by him giving it to Krishna is the highest form of renunciation. Am I making some sense here?
Yeah, so when you say Prabhuji, offering it to Krishna, devotional service to Krishna, it's in the mind only, no? When you're doing it.
No, in person, action, physically. If we have, see, the idea is that BMW, Kayena Vacha, Manastrendriyaiva, Buddhyatmanava, Prakriti Swabhava, Karomi Yatyat, Sakalam Barasmai, Narayana iti Samarpayami. So we are not just, it's Vacha, words, man, mind, body, physical senses. That is why our sannyasis, they have the Stri Danda, the stick in their hand. If you open the stick, the ropes or whatever that is covered, you will see 3 sticks. One is man, vacha, and body. I dovetail them in Krishna's service by the help of intelligence. So intelligence being the driver, it will take our senses, which means our body, our mind, and our words. So which means I am utilizing my senses and the physical body and not letting me carried away by mind's whims and fancies. And I will use my words carefully so that devotional services are done. So action is definitely important ingredient in our devotional service. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So,
Hare
but like
Krishna.
that in householder's life, we are entitled to some enjoyment, like you said.
You are. So I'm saying your enjoyment responsibly. 25 to 50 is your quota. Enjoy. But enjoy not ruthlessly, not unscrupulously. You enjoy with regulation. That is why charity is an important component of a grihastha. Nobody is saying, a brahmachari need not give charity. A sannyasi need not give charity. A vanaprastha is not expected as much as a grihastha to perform charity. But a grihastha who is an active earning member of the in a socio-economical ecosystem is supposed to give in charity. That is the form of renunciation for him. So if you make $100,000 dollars earning, then you decide. I mean, of course, there are formulas, but you decide some portion will go to Krishna, and or you'll decide some portion is going to go for charity. And from the charity, you decide some for Krishna, some for cows, some for Brahmanas, some for poor and needy people, some for serving Vaishnavas. So how much ever, but definitely that has to be done. Otherwise, your sense gratification becomes completely unregulated.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes, thank you very much, Prabhuji.
All the best. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat always Prabhupada. It was such a nice class reflecting upon the qualities of people in the different modes and how they perceive money and its utility. It was very enlightening, and your association is so much valued and purifying.
Thank you so much for your kind word. The reason I was trying to insist on this is that many times in my devotional meetings, I've seen people asking me, Prabhuji, how do I choose which varna I belong to? Because today in material world, we are all born to parents and maybe not inheriting the supposed values of that particular varna. My father had been a Brahmana, but I am, being a Shudra. In fact, I very clearly remember that my father did not want me to be some sort of educator or anybody, because he found that teachers, when he retired, his last drawn salary was 15,000 rupees. So 15,000 rupees is today's not even $150. So he knew, he was thinking that if I have to give my son a best life, he should become an engineer. So engineer or engineering job is more of a laborious class, like a type of job. So the whole world, unfortunately, because of the imbalance in the socio-economic ecosystem, so he is trying to, everybody is trying to settle it off through financial arrangement and completely gets confused whether I'm a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and that confusion persists forever. And people, try to run after, as Prabhupada writes, just want only one thing, vitamin M, as money. But when we know where my natural instincts swing to, then I should be able to dovetail them, hone in on them, utilize them, and probably my performance will be much better when I am performing to my natural true self. Otherwise, I know many people who would have studied, zoology and botany in their college, but would have become a banker and software engineer. He said, what is the relevance? The relevance is completely gone because you did not get a job. Wherever you get a better job, you are running after that. Doesn't make any sense. So from that standpoint, this understanding will help us to align who we are, how we are. It will also help to identify how our children swing, in which way, so that we can properly motivate them. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madana Pranam to you. Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for explaining today's verse. Prabhuji, I had a question, like not of this verse, but the previous one. I don't know whether you went through it or there was some other speaker with us. Like, Prahlad Maharaj is explaining that how 100 years of lifespan is there, and then half of time we spend in sleeping, and then 50 is left, and then, all those details, right? So that's very interesting because, this is how we understand how the time is actually getting wasted, like in our daily activity also, which we are engaging more in, maybe sleep, or we think, oh, we need 8 hours of sleep and things like that. So can you explain a little bit on that topic, if you don't mind?
There is a
Just the teaching.
there's an Alvar in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. He's explaining a similar verse. What you're asking is in verse number 6 of 7th canto, 6th chapter. So an Alvar is explaining, and same thing Prahlad Maharaj is explaining. I will give a what I call as an explanation on how this 100 years is perceived. 50% is gone in sleep or activities associated with that. 10% of your life is gone in your childhood days activities. 10% of your life is gone in your Prajalpa Gramya Katha. 10% of your life is gone in disease and sufferings of this bodily situation. So 80% is already gone. This 50% of what Prahlad Maharaj says, in the Alvar is saying, Padiyum Urangi Pover, which means 50% of the time they keep sleeping. Here, sleeping refers to not just sleeping, which is possible in somebody's case where they sleep for 12 hours a day, but they are in slumber. They are in precipitated, intoxicated, and their what you call as adulterated state of mind. So, what calculation that is perceived over here is, you are telling that devotional life, I will take it later. Tell me where that later segment is. So, if you are living for 100 years, 80 years, if 80% of your years are gone, within that limited time, 20 years, you are going to calculate everything else. You are going to calculate your personal strategy, your career strategy, your family strategy. I mean, the question is saying that balastavat krida shaktaha, tarunastavat taruni shaktaha, vriddhastavat chinta shaktaha, parame brahme kahopi shaktaha, bhajagovindam, bhajagovindam, govindam, bhajamudamate, samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrinjharane. So, Shankaracharya is saying that balastavat krida shaktaha, your childhood days are gone in playing with the toys. Krida means playing. Tarunastavat taruni shaktaha, your youthhood is gone in getting attracted to opposite sex. Vriddhastavat chinta shaktaha, when you are old, you are constantly meditating about your past and also your future, meaning who is going to look after you, how your childhood was, and etc. So Shankaracharya is asking, Parame Brahme Kahobi Shaktaha. Tell me, when are you going to think about Krishna? So isliye he is saying, Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhajamudamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukkinjharane. Did I answer you, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Very. It's so thought pondering. This thing which I had heard earlier also, because I'm just thinking that like actually we, when we say 100 years, we console ourselves, but of course everybody has a different lifespan here, right? The ant has a different lifespan, maybe one day or something. Brahmaji has so much of lifespan. So, but we have to concentrate on our lifespan, and it's actually not 100 if you think of it. Like because I used to think we sleep and 8 hours goes away from the 24 hours. So when I heard this, I was just wanted some more reinforcement on this, that how we should actually utilize our time. Like most devotees say, use the morning time for Krishna, afternoon for work, and evening, family, plus we should do some reading and also some bhakti, because in the evening time. But this should really diligently be done. And I'm just saying this so I can, for my own memory, for my own repetition, and maybe in association of devotees here, I can get some blessings for what I'm saying. so I can make use of it. Like Prahlad Maharaj is really great. How he
There
has
are two
done.
types of people. One says tomorrow never dies, and another people says tomorrow never comes. So we have to see what is our call. There's a very good Tamil proverb. Nandre sei, indre sei, inne sei. Do good, do it today, do it now, because that is reality. And there's another point that Srimad Bhagavad Gita explains in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita or 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So where we learn from our past mistake, configure your present to shape your future. This is first class. Do not worry about the past. Do not worry about the future. Live on the present. This is stupidity. And 90% of the time, they do this. There are another category of people who will dwell on the past, never mind about the present, and completely destroy their future. There is a fourth category of people who constantly think about the future and daydream and doesn't correct their present, and their past and future both remains one and same. So as a practicing devotee, it is important that we remember our past mistakes, reconfigure our present so that those mistakes are not repeated, to eventually shape our future so that we don't have to come back here and suffer in this world. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, one more question is there, which is very general question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that is like, sometimes devotees have certain qualities. One might be very good in management. Another one might be very good in, organizing or cleaning. So all these qualities have come in us, and each one of us has different qualities. So how is the qualities coming in us connected to, our previous life or this life? And how is it that one person, like say one Mataji is doing like wonderful stitching clothes and all, and the other Mataji cannot do at all, and she can make lovely garlands, and there's another one who's like cooking in bulk. So all of these qualities are there. I mean, do we inherit this from our previous life, or how these qualities come, and and also how we can use it in the Krishna service? If you can
Three
little bit
ways.
yeah.
3 ways. Number one, it comes from our birth, the family, lineage where we belong to. How much ever it is depleting, some vasana, some, inheriting things from our past life and our family where we are born. Number two, it is based on the association. Even if you are born in a tribal family, but if you have associated with self-realized soul, then you will become changed. Like Mrigari was a tribe, but he associated with Narada Muni and became a saint. The third is by our by our giving priority to certain things based on our need of our life. Sometimes what happens is that the person, they would have been troubled, they would have been pushed against wall, so, and they would have had a need. Sometimes out of the need, somebody develops a courage, performs some severe austerity to acquire certain qualities. There are people who, to prove a point that I want to become a better singer, a better musician, a better better lawyer, or whatever that is. So what happens is that sometimes out of your need you orient yourself, but of all the three, the middle one supersedes. The association, that extended association that you have, will actually motivate you, and it'll bring the qualities that were hidden in you, and you naturally get develop those qualities. A eagle amongst chicken will walk like a chicken and hen, and never be able to think that I'm an eagle, I can fly very high and get my own food. So it's important, with whom you are growing, and accordingly you will become one. As one scholar says, tell me who your your friends are. I will tell you who you are. Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji. And in the first point, you mentioned about the something you inherit from the parents, but that can be from many generations coming in the family, not only our biological parents, right?
Yes. But then slowly they are all getting depleted because of cross pollination. We are now intercaste marriage, intercommunity marriage, because of which things are getting really aberrated. So that is why Varnashrama Dharma is getting completely destroyed. And when Prabhupada wanted to revive, he says Daiva Varnashrama, which means Varnashrama centered around the Supreme Lord. So we are hoping that with the help of ISKCON and Vaishnavas, we are able to reinstate Daiva Varnashrama at least.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for all these answers and your association.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna,
Yes.
Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Such a wonderful class, Prabhuji. So nicely explained you about the Prahlad Maharaj's instructions and how we should be as a Vanaprastha or Grahastha ashram. How should we do this in Krishna's service? So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
So if nobody has any question or comments, we can end up the call here. Vancha kalpatarusha kripa sindhu vaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की जय। शिल प्रपात की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हिज ग्रेस राम गिरधारी प्रभु जी की जय। थैंक यू सो
Jai.
मच प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू।